Hello, and welcome to this manufacturing management webinar in association with Donaldson Filtration Solutions. My name is Paul Fanning, and I'm the Editorial Director of Manufacturing Management. Today's presentation is entitled Boost Your Dust Filtration Performance, Effective Maintenance and Connected Smart Solutions. And with me from Donaldson are Benoit Noel, Director of Industrial Solutions Aftermarket EMEA, and Jeff Hodgson, Senior Service Manager, Industrial Solutions. Before I hand over to Jeff and Benoit, however, I should just say that if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the box on the right-hand side of the screen, and we'll endeavour to answer them at the end. If we don't have time to answer your question, please rest assured that we will hand it on to Donaldson and they will answer it for you offline. And with that, it just remains for me to hand over to Benoit and Jeff. Gentlemen.
Thank you for the introduction, Paul. And good afternoon, good evening, or good morning to all of you, wherever you are. Very much welcome to this webinar. I would like to start with a short introduction of who is Donaldson and what we do. So Donaldson is a $3.4 billion company founded in 1915. The data associated pictograms on this slide should help you getting good understanding on who we are and what we do. However, there are a few important highlights that I would like to mention. We serve a diverse set of filtration applications within different industries across the globe. The experiences built from these different businesses helps us to develop a wide variety of filtration solutions. Our worldwide collaboration through the utilization of all our technologies across these industries has served many customers so far with whatever filtration challenge they had. Everything we work each day is all about filtration. So let's tune in on the topic of the day. Today, we would like to discuss about the importance of maintaining properly your filtration system and the impact of a good or bad maintenance has on your daily operation. We at Donaldson emphasize a lot on the importance of a proper filtration system maintenance. The purpose and principle of our company supports our mission of advancing filtration for a cleaner world. Now let's tune in on the topic we will be addressing during the next 30 minutes. The purpose of this webinar is to give you all an understanding on dust filtration and why it is important to have a dust collector system within your plant. We will share some real-life example of what our service technician faced on the job at sites. You will be surprised on how poor maintenance can affect drastically your installations. This will guide us to explain then why maintenance is important and the risk associated with it. We will also brief you on the latest technologies available on the market that allows you to turn your dust collector into a smart collector and how this helps you to enhance its performance. Before we talk about filter system maintenance, I'd like to share a few words about the basics of filtration. What we have displayed here is a simple cartridge dust collector. The top part shows how the air flows through the system. Dirty air extracted from the industrial or production environment and capturing the dust on the outside of the cartridges. The clean air returns via the inner part, which is illustrated with the blue colored flow. When applying a reverse pressurized pulsating air pulse in the inner part of the cartridges, the dust cakes release and falls into the hopper at the bottom of the collector. Obviously, there are hundreds of different applications of dust types. However, the principle always remains the same. This now leads us to the next simplified graph and explains a filter change out and why it is important. It is an important part of the proper maintenance. Donaldson has a wide range of patented filter media to suit your various application, dust and temperature. That suits not only Donaldson dust collectors, but as well all dust collectors on the market. This chart is only a representative image for visualization, but the story behind should tell you that for any given dust collection system, there is an optimal point where you should change your filtration elements, regardless whether these are cartridges, bags, or panels. Going beyond this point, without maintaining, introduce higher risk, higher operation costs, electrical power, compressor, and so on. Your pressure drop increases and you should really think about higher replacement cost, higher labor cost, longer production downtime, and so on. In the next slides, we will illustrate what are some of the risks and things that can happen if you push your filter beyond this optimal point. Proper maintenance starts with checking the state of your system, and Jeff will be explaining all of that in the next slides. But prior to that, I would like to further talk a little bit about production lifecycle consideration and associated costs. There are basically three main components. First of all, we have the capital investment. Then there is the operational cost that includes electrical power, compressed air, production downtime, and some other hidden costs. And then next to that, a complete system maintenance, whether schedule based or potentially condition based, and we'll touch upon that later, are determining your total cost of ownership. From an operational point of view, proper maintenance helps to keep multiple cost drivers under control. For instance, electrical consumption, which is a hot topic for the moment, the higher the pressure drops, the higher the energy needs for dust extraction. Compressed air usage. A not well-maintained system will require more compressed air and higher pressure, plus frequency to clean your filtration elements. Other factors such as product quality, cleanliness of operations, and also are also influenced by maintenance action. Already, when we look at the production life cycle of a dust collector system, without even considering the operating cost, the next simple pie chart shows you that over the full lifetime of a system, maintenance costs already represent 2/3 of the total cost. Obviously, this is when you do proper maintenance. So now let's tune in a bit further on why we should do proper maintenance with some visual real-life examples. I would like to further elaborate why we should always have a proper maintenance plan of your filtration system. Well, first of all, it will help you achieving a few important aspects within your operation. Keep pressure drop under control. Keep the fan running at efficient and acceptable electricity costs. Keep compressed air usage at acceptable level because the system doesn't trigger for excessive cleaning. Energy saving overall. And it will serve to achieve an increased product quality and cleanness. Secondly, it helps avoid high emissions, low extraction from the environment, whatever that is, blockage and leaks in connected pipings, explosion because of dust accumulation. And last but not least, it addresses health and safety of your employees. It returns clean air to the environment, and it complies with local, national, and international standard and regulation. But, and yes, there's also a but, what if you don't pay proper attention? If you don't pay proper attention at your dust collection, you could be in serious dangerous situation. We'll show now some examples of what our service technicians have encountered on the field. Donaldson, as a filtration expert, can help you to avoid being in trouble with your dust collector system. And later on, the presentation will show you how. There are multiple worst case scenarios that we've seen on the fields. Looking at these pictures, we will tell you already a few things that can happen. Hopper plugging, surrounding pipe pluggings. And these are mainly, many occasions, high up, so not easy reachable. How many hours, days to clean things like this? How many downtime associated cost? It can be very high. Other things such as too low conveyor speed, too high DP, resulting from an extraction that can only go to 2,000 cubic meters, while you normally have to pull 6,000. As a result, there is health and safety impacts on your environment, impacts on your production. Even further accumulation of dust can lead to explosive situation, fire and safety issues. Such as here, displayed in the following pictures. High emission because of collapsed elements. Fire due to explosive dust accumulation. But even beyond there could be other effects. Or better, no effects, meaning no change in indicators, should also ring a bell. In this case, the customer called us because his units was running 24/7 but the delta P was always the same, and there was no pulsing happening to clean the cartridges. Be aware, all units were reinforced ATEX units with high explosion danger because of a special resin that was used. We went there and we opened the first units. The complete raw gas chamber was filled with carbon fibers, and these fibers could actually not be removed from the cartridge by pulsing because they are lightweighted. So highly explosive situation and very dangerous. So again, no indicators can mean something as well. So it's important to do a regular check and regular inspection and regular maintenance of your system. Our intention here is to really make you aware that not doing proper maintenance come with high risk and associated high cost, which leads me to the conclusion of why it is important to do proper maintenance of your dust collector. It is really important to take care of your operation, employees, and environment. This is all linked to a proper maintenance. I will pass now the word to my colleague Jeff, who will explain you how we can help you with this.
Thank you, Benoit. That nicely sets the scene for the next part of the webinar, the how of maintenance. So hello to everyone, and I also thank you for joining us today. Just a quick reminder to raise any questions during the session using the chat option. There will be the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So we're now going to look at the how of maintenance. Here are the main topics that we'll be covering during this session today. Safety is first. It's always the number one priority and our number one consideration. Then we will move on to some of the key steps, knowing what tasks are to be carried out at site and to make sure that we're always fully prepared. Next, how Donaldson can support you. Donaldson has a wide range of service, testing and site support covering the majority of locations. And then finally there, connected smart solutions. Remote connectivity service for optimal filtration performance. Safety first. We all know safety is number one. So here are some of the key considerations we face from a service perspective. Firstly, looking at the type of work. What is the task? Where will this task be carried out? Examples are working at height, working in confined spaces, outdoor locations, and zoned areas. Also, what PPE, personal protective equipment, is required, and also where is the collector located? Is suitable access or working at height in place? Who will carry out the work, making sure that skill set at least matches the task in hand? And then we move on to documentation and all the authorization that is required. So having a detailed safety checklist to complete prior to any form of site work is always important, and make sure all considerations are in place. What further site documentation is required? There are examples: site inductions, risk assessments and method statements, any permits to work, and any licenses such as using mechanical platforms. And then we move on to considerations for replacement filters and spare components. Ensure the filters are the correct specification for the application. Genuine filters ensure exact fit and performance, and that all the spare components are fit for the performance. These all add up to all the safety aspects that we need to consider. So the next steps, maintenance, key steps. Here are the key steps for maintenance. For reverse jet filters, we know the compressed air supply is a very important part. The cleaning air must be of the right quality, the correct pressure, and the correct volume to ensure effective cleaning. And it allows us to keep the pressure drop under control and the filter life under control. We also know that the compressed air is a very expensive utility. So having the correct controller settings are also important to be efficient within its use. Dust collector hoppers are not designed as storage vessels. We did see earlier from Benoit a few horror stories where product builds up in the hopper, and this leads to further issues. and sometimes extensive downtime. Pressure drop, typically an indication of the filter condition, although not always. Know when the best time to change the filters out, be it at optimal time. Benoit demonstrated this earlier in a graph format. Where there are a number of cartridges, bags or panels, when it comes to filter replacement, always change out a full set. It is false economy only changing a few, as when a collector is switched back on, the air and the dust will take the easiest route, overload the new filters, and often you'll find yourself back at square one. Pulsing does matter. It's not only the correct compressed air that's needed, there are many other components of a reverse jet cleaning system that require maintenance and checking, such as pulse valves, solenoid valves, and controller settings. Consider your controller settings for pulse duration and pulse interval, cleaning on demand, and the all-important offline cleaning where possible. What we have here is a diagrammatic example of a system. So it covers all of the typical components of a complete system. You can see there are many components that build up the system, and all of these need to be correct at the design and installation stage, and then thereafter required to be checked and maintained on a regular basis. Every part of the system plays an important part to an effective and efficient system, and by maintaining this, you can be assured of maximum uptime and lowest cost of ownership. So, servicing your collector. Where do we start with servicing? Well, firstly, find out when the collector was last serviced, and were there any recommendations? And importantly, were these carried out? It is always good to have design and commissioning data to refer to when working on a piece of equipment. Then carry out pre-service performance checks. It's important that we know how the collector is performing. Record performance readings and compare these to post-service performance. Carry out visual checks. Take photos and make notes on the report. Build up an historical service data. The service itself needs to be supported by a comprehensive and detailed service checklist. All components need to be checked, recorded, adjusted as required, and sometimes replaced. Often a collector service can be viewed as just replacing the filters. This is not the case. Ancillary components need to be checked, consumable items need to be replaced, controllers need to be checked and reset as required, and beyond the collector itself, ductwork, safety devices, and mechanical discharge items need to be checked and serviced. Then we look at maintenance for optimal TCO, total cost of ownership. Lower your total cost of ownership. Utilities such as compressed air and electricity. These energy consumptions are very expensive, and make sure they're being used to their most efficient manner. This was demonstrated earlier in the presentation. Filters. Measure pressure drop and understand the trends of operation. Use high quality filter specifications at lowest pressure drop for maximum efficiency. All other components not checked and maintained can add to the total cost of ownership. It was demonstrated earlier. Block ducts, rotary valves are worn. Are you also obtaining the correct oil volume? It is very important. So we move on to service capability and coverage. Here we shall briefly cover the extensive service portfolio of Donaldson, along with the audit compliance testing capability and our remote connectivity services. Here we can see just at a glimpse of our EMEA service coverage, where we have some 90 service technicians and in addition authorized service partners. We're making sure that you are covered wherever you are. Donaldson Industrial Service. Our expertise in filtration technology, along with genuine performance filter media and components. We make sure that all our technicians are fully trained and qualified, backed by a skills matrix for efficient resource allocation. Our service portfolio is comprehensive and can be tailored to suit customers' requirements. Examples: different frequency of servicing, testing requirements, servicing out of hours, typically holidays or even weekends, ensuring you have local service capability brought to you by a global organization. Here we have examples of our extensive capability and portfolio: comprehensive maintenance and testing solutions, skilled technicians trained and up to date with the latest technology, proactive monitoring through our remote connectivity, our wide coverage of a global network. You can see how we have all the capabilities of customer maintenance requirements, and in addition, testing, audits, inspections, filters and parts, remote monitoring, upgrades, commissioning, and a customer support line. The chart on the slide depicts what Donaldson can offer. On the left-hand side, you can see the options of do it yourself, do it with me, do it for me. You can also see the categories of reactive, preventative, and proactive maintenance. The example of do it yourself. Here, Donaldson can provide all the filters and spares for the collector, make sure it's connected, and for you to carry out the service. And on the top line, you can see do it for me, where Donaldson will monitor the collector and take on all the necessary service and actions to ensure optimal performance, leaving it all in the hands of Donaldson, your service partner. So also in addition to our extensive dust collector service team, we also have service teams covering industrial gases, centered around all aspects of compressed air purification and nitrogen production, and also our life sciences team for the food, beverage, and pharmaceutical industries. Here you can see shop.donaldson.com, Donaldson online replacement parts and filters. Visit shop.donaldson.com, where you can identify and order online. It is so simple to use, and it allows searches by collector serial number, part number, a cross-reference, or even equipment type. We also cover other major brands of collectors and service them too. We have a large stock availability, and it's all ready for shipping for quick delivery. Now we will move on to Donaldson's IQ, smart connectivity at your fingertips. In this section, we'll be looking at how you can be smart in monitoring your collector performance, its trends and maintenance requirements through our remote connectivity service. Donaldson IQ smart connectivity is always at your fingertips. Smart connectivity is born out of customer need for greater access to real-time production performance data. Smart connectivity allows organizations to monitor and maintain their filtration equipment more effectively. The service changes the way we go about monitoring, managing and optimizing dust collector performance. We shall go into detail, but here are a few main points. It can be installed on existing equipment in the field, both Donaldson and non-Donaldson, without the need to change or upgrade any existing controllers. It is a very quick and easy installation and connection. Simple performance views on the dashboard are accessible at all time on your smartphone, PC, or tablet. Simple alerts and alarm levels can be set with notifications to either a user or a number of users. And there are a variety of monitoring possibilities. And of course, our IQ customer support team are there to back you. All in all, dust collector remote monitoring is made easier. It's therefore there to support efficient maintenance and operation, reduces planned downtime, allows you to manage and track compliance information, and importantly, allows you to manage work in challenging environments. Often collectors can be in remote locations, at height, outdoor, and reduces the risk and exposure to any form of hazards. What we see here are all the options from an IQ perspective. So before we go on to how smart connectivity works, let's look at what it can do for you. So out-of-the-box versions allow you to monitor all the items on the left-hand side of the screen. Relative airflow. Is the air volume correct? Is it above or below requirements? Pulse valve health. Detects pulse valve strength, and also on larger collectors where a number of valves are fitted, you can detect any concerns. Differential pressure, the all-important pressure drop, or often referred to as delta P. Maintenance hours, records the last service date and the number of hours of operation since. And then compressed air pressure, the all-important cleaning pulse pressure and the performance of. And in addition to out-of-the-box features, IQ has the ability to have additional monitoring, and you can see these on the right-hand side. If you have a HEPA or a secondary filter, we can measure that pressure drop. Particulate trend for emission monitoring. Temperature and humidity, measures the air inlet temperature and humidity level, ideal for challenging applications. Hopper plug, detects if a hopper is starting to get a buildup of material. Are the bins not being emptied? Is the discharge device not on? And then as we move on to rotary valve and any other mechanical device, is it in operation? So how does it work? Here we have a pictorial of a facility with various equipment fitted with IQ, smart monitoring. The wireless IQ gateway mounts magnetically to the collector with sensors adhered to the key points inside. Main connection points being compressed air, filter tapping points, and an electrical connection. Because IQ is web-based, there is no software to install. Donaldson's secure cloud and network communication keeps all the data separate from any of your internal networks. Once installed, simply log in and with Donaldson support, configure your dashboard settings, alerts and alarms, and designate who can view and receive reports and alerts. You are then set to view at any time. Real-time monitoring is then at your fingertips. So to summarize our smart connectivity service, it supports efficient maintenance and operation, automatically monitors the status of all your smart dust collectors from a single web-based dashboard, identifies potential issues before they create a need for a larger, more time-intensive correction, reduces unplanned downtime, monitors key parameters on the collector and proactively addresses the issues, allows you to set and configure alerts so you receive notifications when preset thresholds or breaching of your dust collector is in operation, manages and tracks regulatory compliance information. You have real-time performance access to data for compliance reporting. Manage employee exposure risks by monitoring relative airflow through the dust collector. Smart connectivity is backed by our online customer support team. Simple, quick installation and connection. With all these features and benefits, I would like to introduce you to our webinar offer. Donaldson will supply, install, and connect free of charge our out-of-the-box IQ version to your reverse jet dust collector, subject to its specification. Our offer is available for both Donaldson and non-Donaldson collectors. So why not take up this incredible offer? Scan the QR code for further information. So with that, on behalf of Donaldson, both Benoit and myself would like to thank you for attending our webinar today. We do appreciate your time. So thank you. And as it says here, Donaldson brings more than a century of filtration experience, backed by more than 250,000 global installations. Industry-leading technology, unrivaled support, and smart connectivity to proficiently address your dust, fume, and mist collection challenges. Going above and beyond is part of our DNA. Thank you again. I will now hand you back over to Paul as we now start the Q&A session.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Yes, we do have some questions here for you. Let's start with this one, which is with the smart connectivity upgrade, how am I informed if my collector needs attention?
Yeah, thank you. Good question. Yeah, related to the IQ. Yes, you set or we set thresholds within the system, and effectively you've got two levels. The first level is really an alert that something is not quite right. It's not totally wrong, but it's not quite right. And then further on from that, we have an alarm. So effectively, we set up who would actually receive those alerts and alarms, and it would be an email coming through just basically notifying there's an alert in relation to a specific collector, or if it's left for a period of time, it will then go into an alarm mode, and then it changes from an alert to an alarm. So it's a simple and effective email notification just coming through to whoever the customer wants that to be specified to. Okay.
Thank you. Next one. How long does it take to have my collector upgraded to smart?
An IQ, yeah, to have it installed. Yeah,
Mm.
we're doing a lot of these installations at the moment, and they're typically being carried out during a service, although not always. On average, it's taking about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, depending on the location of the collector. Some of these are even at site at height, maybe even on the top of a silo, etc. And then we're also making sure that we're making a very quality installation as far as the compressed air and the electricity is concerned. So yeah, let's go for about an hour to an hour and a half is the typical time frame. Yeah.
Okay, and as a follow-up to that one, can I have my collector upgraded at my next maintenance service?
Yes, you can, and that's probably the most ideal time to have the IQ installed, because obviously service is often pre-planned. It's known when that service is going to be carried out. And when it is a full service and we're changing filters, etc., the collector is offline. So if we can do that in parallel at the same time, that is the most ideal time, so that there's minimal disruption for the customer at that point.
Okay, and next, is there any form of subscription for the smart system?
There is, well, I'll say there isn't. We had a slide earlier demonstrating on the left-hand side, which were out of the box connections, whereby we've got the IQ monitoring, we've got the real-time data on the information. For all that, there isn't a subscription. But if we then move into the arena where, as it said, Donaldson do it for me, where we would actually monitor the equipment, or we have condition-based maintenance, so that we're actually seeing what the real-time data gives us, then effectively there is a cost for that side. Yeah.
Okay, and do your service vehicles carry consumable spares?
Yeah, if I can take that one, yeah. Just in the Donaldson range itself, we have some 200 different types of dust collectors. So we don't carry all of the spares on the service vehicle, otherwise it would be effectively a truck. But for a service vehicle itself, the most common consumable items that we will keep on the vehicle, and we've sort of really built up historical data on that one, knowing what is required and what is sort of either most in demand or we see that needs changing out. So effectively, yes, they carry a stock of spares all times.
Okay, and with the reverse jet controls, I'm not sure what the settings should be. Is this something Donaldson take care of during service?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, we do. It's very much one of the key areas for service, that we make sure that the control settings are correct. So like we described earlier, when we arrive to carry out the service, we will do the pre-checks. We understand what the controller settings are. We obviously know what they need to be, but we also look at the particular application and make sure that those controller settings suit the application that we're looking at. So we talked about clean on demand. We talked about offline cleaning. Can we build that into the process? Because really, that's really going to help with compressed air consumption, and keeping the compressed air consumption to a minimal, but also making sure we've got sufficient to be effective to make sure it operates correctly. So yeah, okay, thanks.
Okay, and finally, is the smart upgrade also available on non-Donaldson collectors?
Yes, it is. Yeah, for non-Donaldson reverse jet collectors, yeah, because effectively we are, as mentioned, we're connecting to the Delta P connections or the tapping points. We've got an electrical connection, typically from an existing controller, and then we are connecting to the compressed air. So whether it's a Donaldson or a non-Donaldson, yes, we can provide that, Paul. Yeah.
Okay. Great. That's all we have time for, I'm afraid. But as I said earlier, any questions that we've had that we haven't been able to answer today, we will be handing on to Donaldson. They will be able to answer them for you offline. And with that, it really just remains for me to thank Benoit and Jeff for presenting today, and to thank all of you for joining us today. Thank you very much.